Hey guys, today's video is brought to you by Cuts Clothing. Now, Cuts sent me some samples to try out, which I'm wearing right now, about 2 months ago. And it's one of those things that when they said, all right, we're going to go through with the promotion, do you want some more shirts? I was like, yes, I do. Because Cuts makes quality shirts. And you know me, I'm not really an overly fancy guy. I like to wear that sort of like, throw a sport coat on it. Now I'm sporty. Take it off. Now I'm casual. Cuts has the perfect t-shirt for virtually any situation. They make quality clothing that just fits well. It feels good. You look in the mirror and you're like, Cuts is something that you're not going to regret. And I'm telling you, we all wear t-shirts. If you get these, you will enjoy them because they will make you look good. They'll make you feel good. And in turn, that makes me look good. So everybody wins there. So check out cutsclothing.com/superspeeders. They're going to give you 15% off your first order. That's cutsclothing.com/superspeeders. There's a link right below in the description. I'm not blowing smoke. This is good stuff. You want these. I'm telling you. Like this is keep going. Click the link in the description. You can not even watch the rest of the video. This one between you and me, go for it. In New York, the car rental industry, especially in exotics, pretty seasonal, right? So I get some downtime, which allowed me to start building my own house, right? Very happy there. However, sucks because business is a little slow. That's why you see in October, November, we start selling off some cars. And now we get back into the point where we start buying new ones. And I'm happy to report at least one of my Corvette C8s has been produced already, waiting for it to go through QC, get back to me, and then boom, I'll throw it right here in this line. Believe it or not, the Corvette that I have there hasn't moved in 6 weeks, 7 weeks. It was like one weekend rental or something like that in the last 2 months. That's a money loser right there. But last night, I just got a big phone call, and it was like, oh, holy crap. Got a big rental guy, a billionaire, driving a car from LA to New York. Awesome. That's a big dollar rental, and it got me thinking about these other big dollar rentals we've done in the past. Because if you think about it, you may think like, oh, probably get big rentals all the time. Not really. I would say that this industry is a lot of singles, right? And when I say singles, I'm talking baseball. Like a lot of weekend rentals. So the business is essentially weekend to weekend to weekend. Anything that happens during the week is a little bit of a bonus. The big rentals that come in, you don't really expect them. And they're also not as profitable as you would think because at a certain point in time, it becomes cost prohibitive to rent the car. You might as well just buy it. But sometimes guys say, you know what, I don't want to buy it. I'd rather give you the money. So you can't charge them here. And if you did it like a la carte and rented it to 20 different people, you'd be getting up here. So you dive in right there. So that's what we've learned in the past. Some of the big ones obviously have rationale behind them. We have the gumball rental, the one that was ended up into the lawsuit. We had a couple of cars go out for the 2009 gumball. I want to say they went from LA all the way down to Miami, and it was something like $45,000 for the expensive ones for a week. I mean, that's a lot. They're putting a lot of miles on it, but $45,000 for one customer is a lot of money. And if you think about it, this whole thing, like why is it so expensive to rent a car like that for 1 week? It's the mileage. You go out and put 3,000 miles on a Lamborghini. That car is not, even if you get a car tomorrow, just say you buy a 3,000 mile car tomorrow, you go drive it 3,000 miles. Now it's got 6,000 miles on it. That car is worth $15,000 to $20,000 less. And that's if you're lucky to get a buyer at that point. So you got to realize that mileage is the biggest killer on these cars. So the rentals that you see that are expensive, or that I'm going to talk about that are expensive, isn't necessarily because of the type of car or the length of time. It's more so because of how many miles they do. Another rental we had, this is the biggest rental that we've ever done as far as one single individual. We've done corporate events, when we did the Top Gear taxis. I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for all the moving parts. They've got 10 cars here, 20 cars there, vehicle wrap, staff, labor. So there's a lot more involved in those things. But I'm just talking about one guy coming in saying, I would like that car from this date to this date. This is what I'm going to do with it. And the price is what it is. $75,000 is the largest rental that we've ever done to an individual. That was the Rolls-Royce drophead that we bought. And was it the drophead or Dawn? It was a Dawn, I'm sorry. Rolls-Royce Dawn, which is a Rolls-Royce convertible. We got a 1-year-old car for this guy. It had 3,000 miles on it. He put, I think it was like 8,000 miles on the car in 1 month. Think about that. Like, that's a lot of miles to drive. Now, it was an international guy, came over, wanted to see the United States, and he wanted to do it in style. So he was driving from New York and returning it in New York, but he was going all the way to California and back. So when you start charting that course across the country, he ended up putting 8,000 miles on in 1 month. That's nice. I mean, it's a great trip, and if you can afford it, go for it. Would he have gotten a similar experience in a Bentley convertible for a fraction of the price, or even I'm not going to say a Mustang convertible or something, but he had his family, so he needed a big, comfortable convertible with more than enough room in the back seats to accommodate his family. That was, to him, the Rolls-Royce Dawn. The big rental that I just booked last night is going to be in a Maybach, and a Maybach, same thing, going from LA to New York, and then we have to ship it back. When you start thinking about these, most of these rentals that I've talked about so far that are big dollar rentals are because of the amount of miles driven. We don't have too many people that do. I mean, there's only so far you can drive. I mean, you get tired of driving after a while. The other rentals that we've had that have been like big dollars have generally been like summertime rentals. We'll get a lot of people in the Hamptons that want a car for the entire summer. I mean, they're out spending $30,000 a month, $40,000 a month to rent a house. What's $15,000, $20,000 a month, or $10,000, whatever it is, $10,000 a month to add a car to the driveway, or 2 cars or 3 cars. So we see that a lot where we'll get a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 rental, but it's just because the car is sitting out in the Hamptons. So they're not there the whole time, but when they go there, they've got that car sitting there. Now, you're going to ask yourself, well, why don't these guys, they can clearly afford to just buy the cars. Why wouldn't they just buy the cars? Well, it's simple, because buying the cars comes with a lot of overhead. Like buying a car and driving it, using it, you have to pay sales tax on it. So say you buy a $300,000 car. Sales tax on that car could be $20,000 right there before you do anything. So you pay $300,000, you keep it for 3 months, you're selling it like going into the off season. Now you're selling it for $270,000. It's going to cost you $50,000 if you have a predictable depreciation scale, just because of the seasonality of when you're buying it when it's hot and you're selling it when it's not so hot. You're going to have $50,000 right there for 3 months between the sales tax and that. Then if it breaks, say your car breaks, I mean, you buy a nice exotic car, it breaks, sorry, it's 6 weeks to get it fixed. What do you do then? Then you're driving around the Maserati Ghibli that the dealership gives you because your car's in service for 6 weeks. So here, it makes a lot more sense to rent. Now, I'll finish with this because we've had all these like sort of big, wacky, long, big dollar rentals. The largest customer I've had, right? The whale, or like if you're going to think, we had our Dream Share program for a while. That was a $10,000 to $50,000 buy-in. The program changed over the years. But the largest customer I had became a Dream Share member and kept renewing his membership. I don't remember how many years he did that, but he's probably between $250,000 and $300,000 in total spending. He also has exotic cars. He can afford it. It's just something that he had access to a fleet of brand new cars, including the car he had in his garage, or the couple of cars that he has in his garage. But he had access to anything else whenever he wanted it, whether he was in California, whether he was in Miami. He had nice cars at his fingertips, and it's essentially why he spent so much money. So I just found that interesting. It popped into my head, and I was like, all right, I got another one of those big rentals popped up last night, and that made me think about it and start sharing with you guys what a big rental is. A lot of people have these misconceptions about the industry that it's all rappers and celebrities coming and dropping $100,000 and doing what. Another company that I worked with claimed that they had these guys coming from overseas and they'd rent a $400,000 car for a month for $400,000. I'm like, I just don't see that. That just, to me, that doesn't exist. So there may be larger rentals out there. There may be the Floyd Mayweathers that just rent the car and say, I'll just buy it or whatever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, those are the largest rentals that I've encountered in the last 17 years. And I thought they were interesting. It may not have been what you thought if I asked you at the beginning of the video. You know what? I'm going to put this at the beginning of the video. So if I was going to ask you what you think the most expensive rental to a single customer is, what would your answer be? And now you know it's about $75,000 for a Rolls-Royce Dawn for 1 month. Rob Ferretti, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. So you guys are familiar with my other company, Adventure Drives, right? Well, this year we've got 2 trips coming up. One, which is starting in Seattle and ending in Jackson Hole in July. That's going up through the Canadian Rockies, coming down through Banff, Yellowstone, Glacier National Park, and Grand Teton National Park. It's going to be phenomenal. Also, we're going to be going to Scotland in October. We're going to be doing Scotch distilleries, playing golf at St. Andrews if you want to do that, walking around, seeing lakes, waterfalls, driving the North Coast. It's going to be an amazing trip. Prices start as low as $2,500 per person for the shorter trip in Scotland, about double that for the longer trip in July. If you're interested in going, check out the link in the description.